I'm Dr. Lisa Miller, the lead physician here at Excel for Life Family Care and Pediatrics, Indianapolis's most experienced functional medicine team that weds traditional and functional medicine. And I have been in practice 30 years, and with me today is Dr. Jim Spahn, who's an ENT physician who's been in practice even longer than myself, and we just have had such great talks this past weekend about COVID-19, and today I wanted to talk about the testing, symptoms, prevention, and treatment. Also, Dr. Spahn and I share such a great faith in our awesome Lord and Savior, and we just so trust in His wisdom through these very challenging times and moving forward with eliminating the social or the stay-at-home orders and moving out and gradually opening up our country. And I love Proverbs 3:5 through 8 that says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. Don't be wise in your own eyes, but His. Run to God, shun evil. It will bring health to your body and nourishment to your bones." And then Dr. Spahn, I asked you this question. I was just amazed by your experience and insight. I asked you that in my 30 years of experience, I had never seen anybody with sudden loss of taste and smell from a virus. And then I asked you, in your experience, have you?
I have experience mainly from trauma that destroys the cribriform. That's where the olfactory nerve comes down through it, so they get sheared off, so they lose their smell. And start out with, most people will have no taste if they lose any of their smell, or it's very poor, because smell is 65% of taste. It's because that's you can't you're in two different areas of the nerves. But I had one experience I remember now that it was an elderly lady. I am 75 myself, so I'm one of the protected people, I guess, and you have to stay in the house. And this whole thing is just like Groundhog Day, sitting in the house.
Like you said, you haven't had a haircut in 2 months.
I haven't had it. Almost looks like a helmet I wore playing football. So, but what happened is that she was elderly, and I was just really in a residency program, and you go down, you have trouble smelling, you ask all the questions. She said, "Oh yes." She said, "No, I haven't been able to smell nor to taste since I had the flu back in the 1917, 18 time frame." And we were talking about that, and I think a lot of people are saying, if I do get this, can it come back? Now, there's two different things. It's just inflammation around the nerve, then there's a chance that it can. But if it is already destroyed because of the infection and the inflammatory, then I've not seen anybody come back with the taste and the, you can have a little taste, but any kind of smell. So, this is a situation that happens with viruses. I'm sure if you did a study, you find some with the flu, but this seems to be kind of a more of aggressive type of virus, and we're just going to have to play through this and see what's all going to happen in the future. But I think the whole idea is that kind of pay attention to the symptoms, go ahead and get tested, which is, I think we're getting enough people around with the ability to do that. And I do think that getting the antibiotics is very important, particularly in my situation, as I had Guillain-Barré. That is an autoimmune problem with my legs when I was in college. And you're really not supposed to get any kind of shots for flu or anything like that, because it can aggravate that again. So I'm intrigued of finding this, and I do think I've had it. It's going to be interesting. About in February 17th, I was coming back up here from Florida for some business, and I had coughing the week before, got more and more serious. My wife wanted me to stay home, but I thought I needed to come here. And so I got up and I got here, and I was so sick that it was just one night, she got mad at me when I said this, that I had
Yes,
trouble
I did.
breathing. And I'm just laying there and I'm going, well, I'm not calling an ambulance. They'll either find me dead or I'll make it through the night, which is
You
not a
should
good
have called
idea.
me.
Which is not a good, doctor, don't treat yourself. But it was, one of those times, God, if this is it, this is it. But we'll see what's happening here because.
You just got your test today.
Yeah,
your
yeah,
IgG.
we got our test now. So, I kind of lived through it. I kind of hope I have the antibodies so I don't have to play the game in my mind of saying, well, do I get this and then get my legs all bad again and all this.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to it, and I can see how people are both, from the fear of injury, death, and then also, not having the economic standpoint. So there's a real, both of these are very dangerous to the people, and
Right.
I think the key is that believe in God.
Mm-hmm.
Mine, I think you know better than I. Mine, I think is Psalm 40, and that's "Here I am, Lord. I have come to do your will.
Yeah.
I come to do your will," and I kind of live my life that way.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
we'll leave a lot in His hands.
Mhm. And again, you're working to take really good care of yourself and getting much more sleep over the last few years, and eating healthy and taking some kind of basic supplements that really help your immune system also.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote a review article yesterday that looked at a couple case studies from a Dr. Horowitz in New York area that had tremendous improvement from COVID pneumonia very quickly from a couple of his patients by certain supplements that can help.
Mm-hmm.
They also had them on the Zithromax and the Plaquenil, but the real improvement came even within an hour after really boosting glutathione and acetylcysteine and vitamin C. So I'm writing an article that everybody can read that will be out later this week about that, about certain what age you are and what things that you can do for prevention to really help to keep yourself from to boost your immune system. So even if and when we come in contact with it, you will be so much better with getting over it quickly. And then also another part of that article talks about what those studies did if you get the symptoms, what to start right away. Mm-hmm. And myself, the last sick patient I saw here at Excel for Life who had high fever and body aches for 3 days, and he was strep and flu negative. Then 4 days after that, I had a sudden onset myself of fatigue and aches. I closely watched myself, no fever, but this is just very different for me because I have such energy. And so I really boosted up at that time my N-acetylcysteine, my Viracid, ADP, olive oregano, vitamin C, taking each of those 2 to 4 times a day. And by 3 days I was much better and I never did get the fever. Mm-hmm. And I did get tested last Monday here for the IgG antibodies, and then my level was greater than 10. So that time was the COVID that I had. My daughter happened to be visiting at the time, and 3 days after, so I got sick on Monday. 3 days later, she got sick with the classic COVID symptoms. She's 31, and she had fever, bad cough, shortness of breath, and she lost her smell and taste. She feels almost 100%, but maybe just slightly less than that, and she hopes that it's starting to come back a little bit. One thing that you wouldn't really think about as a mother, that you kind of maybe not be so sad that you can't smell the poopy diapers from your 2 little boys, but that's really not good because they can get a diaper rash. So anyway,
she'll know if it's inflammation, it will go down, and particularly if she's getting burning in her nose. A lot of times that's the inflammation of the mucosa, so it swells up around the olfactory, and maybe they're not damaged as much.
So that would be a good sign?
That'd be a good sign if there's kind of, that area. But
so I look for the article that I have coming out this week, And you and family and friends can call Excel for Life and make an appointment to get testing for the delayed antibody. You want to be at least 21 days, really best to be 21 days post onset of any symptoms that you might have had. And then also watch for our awesome Age Well to Excel program that's anti-aging and really helps you stay young and healthy, like Dr. Spahn and I.
Yeah, right. You think? There you go.
Thanks so much, Dr. Spahn.
Thank you.